Where is the King? Today we celebrate the solemnity of Christ, the King of the universe. But our readings are quite provocative. Where is the King? We might presume that we know who He is, but do we see where He is? Where is the King? In the first reading from Ezekiel, that question could be translated in, according to the experience of Israel, before the exile, the disastrous experience of Israel. And the question was, where are our kings? Where are they who are supposed to be guiding us? Where are they who are supposed to be protecting us? Where are they? And that is the same question that God asks. Where are the kings? Where are the shepherds who are supposed to feed the people? And it seems that God could not find the true kings who would shepherd God's people. And so God promised, I myself will shepherd my people. I will be the king. And what type of king? The king who will heal the injured, who will look for the lost and the strayed. The shepherd who will go out of his way, even to his discomfort, in order to guide his sheep into the fullness of life. There is the King. And God exercises His kingship by being a true shepherd, loving, compassionate, tender. And part of God's kingship as shepherd, according to Ezekiel, is He will separate the sheep from the goats. That's the work of a shepherd. When the shepherd gathers his sheep, he makes sure that no goat gets into his flock. Separation. And so, part of the kingship of God is to be discerning. Where are those that really do not belong to the fold? Where is the King? In the second reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, we find the description of Jesus Christ as the second Adam. The first Adam brought death to the world. Imagine if your legacy, if the inheritance that you pass on to the next generation is death, then it's quite a sad memory. But Jesus, the second Adam, here will lead all of us to life. And the second Adam, as the shepherd leading us to life, will reign until all the enemies of God have been subjected. And the final enemy that will be subjected is death. That is our King. That is where our King is, the second Adam. Not in those who bring death, but in those who bring life. We find the King, Jesus, in all efforts, in all persons, who will try to combat the forces of death and evil that will destroy God's people. That is the activity of Christ the King, promoting life, promoting the good of God's people. And only then will Christ the King hand over to the Father His kingdom. So, my dear brothers and sisters, where is our King? Look closely. Every effort to fight evil and death, every effort to promote life could be the presence of our King. Where is the King? On this solemnity of Christ the King, we ask this intriguing question, for we presume we already know who the King is. But where do we locate Him? Now, in the first reading from the prophet Ezekiel, the kings were lost. They were not functioning as real kings, meaning shepherds of God's people. And so God says, I will be the king, a shepherd, healing the wounded, looking for the strayed, gathering my people. I will be their king. But also a discerning king, separating the sheep from the goats. In the second reading, St. Paul depicts Jesus, the king, as the second Adam. Where do we find our king? In every person and every effort to defeat the forces of evil and death that destroy God's people. For our true king will lead us to life, not to destruction. That's where the king is found. For when he was hungry, they fed him. When he was thirsty, they gave him to drink. When he was a stranger, they welcomed him. When he was naked, they clothed him. When he was ill and in prison, they visited him. And they were astounded. When did we do it to you? And there, the answer to our question, where is the king? He said, when you do all of this to the least of your brothers and sisters, you do it to me. And to the goats, the judgment. You go to eternal fire because you did not do this to me by neglecting to do all of these things of justice and mercy and charity to the least of your brothers and sisters. For what you did not do to them, you did not do to me. Where is the king? In the hungry, in the thirsty, in the stranger, in the sick, in the naked, in the prisoner. All figures that are not kingly according to the world's norms. My dear brothers and sisters, we might be entertaining notions of the kingship of Jesus which might not be true to the Bible. This is a time to really make an examination of consciousness. Where do we find Jesus? Where do we see him? My dear brothers and sisters, in this time of pandemic, many people are asking, Lord, where are you? Lord, where are you? Maybe he's telling us, here I am. I am in the suffering. This is my kingship, in being one and being in those in need. He is not just shepherd. He is present in his wounded, faltering, poor sheep. He is with every one of us. The word has been exposed. Let us now fulfill it.